On today's episode of All Things Cayman, we'll be showcasing the CIWA jet ski races. On today's episode of All Things Cayman, we'll be meeting with Mr. Stephen Chen, VP of Marketing for the Cayman Islands Watercraft Association, along with several of the other racers. I'm very pleased to have on the Phoenix Zone today Mr. Stephen Chen from CIWA.
Morning.
Before we get into our conversation about today's jet ski races, could you please tell us a little bit about yourself and your role at the jet ski races?
Sure. So as you said, my name is Stephen Chin. I'm the VP Marketing of CIWA, which stands for Cayman Islands Watercraft Association. What we do is we just put on the local jet ski races on island, and we just help facilitate a little bit of motorsports on island. And my role specifically is just to help the word get out there, to make sure that we have sponsors, that we know that people know about us, and people know about the races that we do here on South Sound.
So you're the one that gives all the sponsors and lets everybody know what's happening.
Well, I'm one person in a big team. With this team, it can't be run without volunteers, right? We're all volunteers, so we have a big team of people that collectively we do that. But as one of my roles is to help with sponsors and helping with just getting the word out there.
Why do you think the jet ski races are so important?
Well, jet ski racing has been around in the Cayman Islands for a very long time. So I really do believe that jet ski racing is part of our culture. And it's something that, I'd hate to see die. Living on a small island, we don't have much to do, right? So I think motorsports is a great avenue for people of all ages to get involved. And jet ski racing has been around since I was very young. Growing up, I used to come out to this very race site and watch races all over the island. So I'm just happy to do my part as someone who's passionate about motorsports, and just do my part to ensure that we can keep some motorsports alive on island.
So even though we have a jet ski race, or we have jet ski races here on South Sound Beach, are there any other places in the Cayman Islands where people do jet ski races?
Oh yeah, for sure. So we keep the South Sound just because it's a tried and true kind of race ground. We know the owners of the land and everything, so everything is nice and easy to set up here. Historically, there's been races in East End, there's been races in West Bay, there's been races all over. And one of the big races that happens every year is Jet Around Cayman, and that happens actually on 7 Mile Beach. And that races around the entire island, but starts and finishes in 7 Mile Beach.
So pretty much all over the island.
All over the island. We're very lucky to have a great island for racing, so that's why we do it.
Do you do any jet ski races on the sister islands?
Well, in fact, that's a good question. So we did have a race in the BRAC maybe 2 years ago, but that's something that's always at the top of our mind, to make sure that we try to get the races involved in the sister islands. But it's a bit more difficult, being able to transfer all the skis there and back. It's a heavy logistical task to get that done. So unfortunately, we haven't had a race there in the past 2 years, I believe. But it's something that we always strive to get done. So yeah, definitely, there's a huge jet ski community in the BRAC. These guys have amazing jet skis out there, and it's something we never forget about them. We do want to get them involved in the sport as much as we can. So hopefully it's something that we can make happen in the future.
How often does the jet ski races happen in Cayman?
So what we're at today is the final round of the CIWA National Tour, what we call it. So it's a series of 4 races that happen throughout sort of the middle of the year. They're about 6 weeks apart each race, and we have the 4 races every year.
So do the jet ski racers travel around the world to do any other jet ski races?
Yes, they do. So actually just recently there was a few riders that we had from Cayman racing some of the series that they have in America. There's multiple leagues in America. One that we're affiliated with here is called P1. And there's another league called IGSBA. And we have riders that go up and work with other teams internationally, and they get involved in the races, and they do quite well actually. So we've had, luckily, some of our races were on the podium this year in some of the races. So that's something that we always strive to push racers, so that we can see them on an international stage. And with the support of our sponsors, we're able to give them the opportunity to go abroad.
How do you keep the racers safe when they're doing their races?
So safety is the number one thing when we're out here. But like what's happening right now behind me, they have what's called Tech Inspect. So each ski that's out on the water today gets inspected by a qualified member of our team to ensure that all of the safety requirements are met, that their key works correctly, that their ski is functioning correctly, and everything will be safe with it. And then to make sure that they have all of the safety gear required, boots, wetsuit, lifeguard. They all wear helmets, safety goggles. So safety is quite important, as you would expect. We keep the safety on standard with the other leagues, P1 and IGSBA. We ensure that everything is followed to the same standard here, because obviously we don't want anything bad to happen to our riders. And then also for safety, when we have the race, we have the fire department. They work with us on every race, so thanks to them, they come out with the fire truck and the fire ambulance, and they're on site for every race. We don't start the race until they're on site. And also the Cayman Islands Coast Guard, they come out as well. They'll be here with their big rib boat, and they have 2 jet skis as well. So they monitor the perimeter of the race course. So we've had instances before where you have other traffic outside of the race, and they help just ensure that traffic doesn't mix in with the race site, and that in whole make sure that the entire environment is safe. Yeah.
So I know that you had like a lot of jet ski races from the past to now.
Yeah.
But what is your goal in the future for any other jet ski races?
That's a good question. So if we had our way, we would get as much sponsorship as possible, right? We want to get the word out there to those people that can help, those companies out there. We have some great sponsors on board already, but as many as we can get would be great. The goal would be to just grow this as much as possible, grow it to where we have as many riders. We have 100 riders, and we just want to keep seeing this thing grow, being able to just ingest more money into having motorsports in Cayman. That's the goal, right?
How many racers are there in today's races?
So the format for today's races, so today we're going to have 3 motos. So a moto is another word for a race. And then within those 3 motos, we have 4 different classes. So we have a naturally aspirated sort of beginner class. That's for skis that are without superchargers or without turbochargers. They're a little bit slower, or a lot slower, I should say. But they're geared towards people just getting into the sport, and it's its own class. And then we have the novice class, which introduces the supercharged skis. Still people still beginners, learning on the novice class, but they're allowed to have supercharged skis. Then we have the amateur class, which is a step up to where those are the skis are quite heavily modified. And then we have the pro class. A lot of times, I'm not even sure, today probably we combine the amateur and pro class, so the actual race has both classes in it. And then depending on where they finish within their classes, their results, right? So it's 4 classes, and then today we have 20 registered riders, which is great. So yeah, they split between those 4 classes. We have 20 riders and then 3 motos.
Thank you so much for doing
No problem. Great job. Thank you, man.
We are here with one of the racers of today's jet ski race.
Okay, my name is James Monroe Jr. I'm 17 years old. I'm a Caymanian racer.
So how long have you been racing for?
This year makes three years. This will be my 3rd year racing.
And what is your division?
My division for today, I'll be actually doing 2 classes. I'll be racing beginners and novice for the first time.
How did you get into jet ski races?
I got into jet ski races back in 2020 when my dad bought a jet ski, and I fell in love with the sport, and I saw some guys out here racing, and I reached out to Chris Bodden, and he gave me all the info I needed, and I got right back to starting in 2021.
When do you plan to move up to amateur or pro?
Hopefully I'll be moving up to amateur next season.
Good luck with today's races.
Thank you.
Yeah, my name's Jordan JJ McLean. Yeah.
How long have you been racing for?
I've been racing since 2002, 2003. Yeah, so 20 years. 20 years racing.
Could you please tell us like how you got inspired and got into jet ski racing?
Sure, yeah, but it was always in water sports. Like my dad was a sailor, so I started sailing, and then up from there, I kind of wanted to go faster. One of my cousins got a jet ski in 1999, and from then I've just been hooked on jet skis and stuff, and then just progressively got to racing in 2003 from there. Because he was a racer, so he motivated me and inspired me to get into it.
Basically, your dad kind of did.
Yeah, right, yeah. So dad got me on the water, and then my cousin was jet skiing, so that kind of everything just kind of fell right in place right there, you know. But, yeah.
So what division are you in for today's race?
Sure, yeah, I'm in the pro class. Yeah.
Pro.
Yeah.
What is your goal to get internationally?
Internationally, yeah. Well, the funny thing is, I used to race professionally internationally from 2009. I won 2 U.S. national championships and a world championship, and then 2 different occasions I was number 2 in the world in the expert class as well. So yeah, so for me, it's just like I kind of like lived the dream doing it. So I'm just back out here now, kind of just trying to inspire others to keep racing, and like, because I just started about racing again 2 years ago, and then so I'm just trying to inspire guys to just keep racing, and like our talent pool is so good, like the young guys, so I just want to keep motivating them and pushing them to go overseas. And then funny enough, I just got back into racing overseas professionally again too. So I had my first race 2 weeks ago, and then now I'm just going to start preparing for next year a little more.
Good luck with today's race.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure meeting you. Looking forward to checking your channel. Hopefully have a link where we can see it all.
My name's Benjamin Mantel.
How long have you been racing for?
Been racing about 6 years now.
6?
Yeah.
So what got you inspired into racing?
So I've been watching racing since I was like 13 years old, and I could never afford to do it. And when I was around 25, 26, I had the funds to do it, so I bought a jet ski and started racing.
So for this year's race, did you come from another place, or do you like live here?
I live in Hollywood, Florida. I've traveled here about 4 times for this series.
4? Okay.
Yeah.
So what division are you in?
I'm racing the amateur class.
Amateur, right?
Yeah.
So what is your goal to be in the pro?
Probably move up to pro next year. I was just getting to learn the racing over here and stuff like that, how it works. It's a little different.
Yeah. How do you like the Cayman Islands?
I love it. It's my home away from home. I've been here once a month pretty much for the past 4 months, and hopefully keep coming back.
Well, good luck on today's race.
Thank you.
My name's Klein Glidden. What's your name?
Phoenix City.
Nice to meet you.
So how long have you been racing?
About 10 years.
10 years.
Yeah.
So what got you inspired? Like,
a bunch of my friends about 10 or 12 years ago, they raced for this team called Tony's Toys. I still race for them. Pretty much all my friends raced, and I would watch them, and it just inspired me to come out and be like them. And they trained me, and they all dropped out of the sport now, and I'm the only one racing for the team to keep it alive.
So what division are you in?
In the pro class.
Did you travel overseas to do a race?
Yeah, so I did this season, the P1 Aquacross National Tour this year. We stopped in 4 different places: Michigan City, La Porte, Indiana, Daytona Beach. I won the La Porte, Indiana and Daytona Beach event. And then we had an event last week in Kissimmee. Unfortunately, my jet ski gave a lot of problems that race, and I didn't do so well that race. But I was going for the win that race, but it's just a part of racing. Yeah.
What is your plan to go internationally? What is your goal?
So my international goal is to put the Cayman Islands on the map. We are a very small country, as you can see.
Yeah.
And to have this amount of people come out to an event in this small country is quite amazing. And we have a lot of talent here. I'm just trying to make the rest of the world see it. So this year I've done a lot of promotion for the Cayman Islands to inspire racers here, to make them know that, hey, they can go abroad and do the same thing.
Well, good luck on today's race.
Thank you.
We're here with the godfather of the Cayman jet ski races. So could you please tell us your name?
My name is Don Patrick.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So, since you're the godfather of jet ski racing, could you please tell us the history?
I'll give you a little briefing on it, yeah. Well, so far I've been involved in this from 1988. So it basically was a first ride for me that really hooked me with the wave runners. I used to race boats back in the 70s, but the wave runner was so personal that I was totally hooked. So I ended up getting my own, and I think that was about in '89. And in 1990, I led the first successful team to make it around the island in actually what we would call a northeaster. So we had like winds up to 35 miles an hour, but we still went. I plotted the course. It was successful, and we did it at that time with the wave runners moving about 30 miles an hour. It took us 8.5 hours to do it, but that's how the famous race here around the island was born, Jet Around Cayman. So they used all of my plans that I had plotted in order to make my trip just a trip successful. After that, in like '91, we put together our first jet ski race here at the Morgan's Harbor area. And I actually still have documentations for all of that, which I'm planning to use in my museum eventually. But yeah, and from then on, it was like, just a passion of mine, and driven by just a love of riding the wave runners. And of course, as we went along, we made up our own safety rules once we rode in groups, and the groups just grew bigger and bigger. And from time after that was we started racing kind of like locally. I used to attend races in Florida with the hot water tour. I did take a little team at one time over to Florida. So we had a lot of fun along the way, and a lot of racing. And it wasn't until like 2008 that about the group here, Cayman Islands Watercraft Association, was actually talking about being formed because all the skis were getting faster, and we needed a good organization. So me, along with a few other guys, spearheaded that, and here we are today. I would say pretty successful. We have sent a lot of guys to the World Finals in Lake Havasu. Guys currently go off to do the endurance race in the P1, and it's just been a wonderful journey, I would say. But I'm very close to retiring from this thing now, because I just need it. It's been over 30 years, so I think I'm just about ready to retire from this.
Thank you so much for doing this interview.
Thank you.
But JJ McLean taking her moto win in the pro class. Dylan McLaughlin with their moto win in the amateur class with a good pro-am win.
We're here with JJ McLean, this race's pro champion. How do you feel about your win?
I feel good to just finish the season like with a result, and to just go look forward to have fun again and just build from here. Next year to just try to continue being consistent. I know that's usual because that's what really wins championships. And then by the end of the day, I know Klein won the season. Klein won the season, so I got to congratulate him too, being a consistent and a competitive racer. So I really had fun doing the battles, despite all my setbacks this season. I still had a lot of fun. I look forward to it every Sunday, and I can feel like I'm a kid again, just in love with the sport. Been doing it for like 20 years, and I still feel like it's my first day every day I come out to race.
How do you feel about what you did throughout the day?
Throughout the day was tricky because the first race there was an accident where a guy like turned in front of me, and then I hit him, and I spun out, so I fell off. So I had to get back up and like try to get back in like contention a bit, but it was already too late to really push anymore. And then the second race was fun too, because it was like the top three was tight, so I had to work my way up, and I got to second. And then the last race was my best one, because I won that one like clean and clear, So, but I think I got the overall for the day as well, but it's just by being consistent. So So I had a blast. Whether or not if I got overall or not, it was still fun, you know. But yeah.
Even though you won this race, how do you feel about your components?
The opponents, yeah, they're good riders, smart riders, you know. So it's good. It keeps me on my toes, and I need competition as much as possible. You know, like I like competitions. It just pushes me more and more, you know. So like I know it just like it keeps me on a level where like, I know like you know these guys are younger than me, but I still have my experience. So I use it to my advantage. But I know that I still got to train and keep continue training, because that's where it comes down to. Like you know, like when young guys come into the sport, I was trying to encourage them to keep training. You know, just be consistent and get smarter and ride harder. You know, because you can have a fast jet ski, but you got to be able to ride it and like be in good shape as well, training and stuff. So because it's just half the battle having a fast ski, but when you get your whole body dialed in and in sync, and you know how your ski rides and everything, it's a great synergy. Yeah.
Are there any sponsors or supporters you want to
Sure.
make shout out to?
Yeah, definitely. I'd like to thank J&M Equipment, my company that supports me, and Dean's team. This has been a long time jet ski tuner. He supported me. I won on 3 of my major championships with him. And I would also like thank Monster Energy and Mark Racing. Now they're my sponsors in the States. So I'm very thankful for the support that the guys are coming and like kind of keep the sport going that way. And like these guys believed in me, and although I haven't raced in a while, and they brought me on their team in the last 2 weeks, so I got to thank Monster Energy, Mark Racing, and Dean's team for giving me the opportunity to live the dream again as well. So I feel even more motivated for next year to go from there.
Thank you so much for doing this interview.
No problem. Thank you so much. I look forward. Yeah, thank you, and all the best in your endeavors and the videos. And I want to see you be a superstar one day too. I love your passion for what you're doing.
I hope you enjoyed our showcase of the 2023 CIWA jet ski races in South Sound. We have some very talented athletes, and the event is really fun. It's like Fast and Furious, but on water. Follow the action at CIWA345 on Instagram. See you next time on the Phoenix Zone, and please follow our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel to see our latest video.